Okay, everyone, it's that time again, part 1F for failure. So what do we have this time? Why isn't the video labeled? Did he forget what part we're on?
Son of a bitch!
Hey, wait a second. Why do you get to finish saying son of a bitch? I actually had to watch the start of this one just to find out what the topic was that he was bringing up. Turns out, it's languages. Actually, I cheated. I have watched the video, well, more listened to it, because, to be truthful, it's a stupid topic. It's his weakest and most pathetic argument yet. Not saying any of his arguments have been strong so far, but you get it. It's so bad, I almost made it a quick short just to clear up the entire thing in 10 seconds. This is what I was thinking.
About the age of the earth. Tonight we're going to talk about human language.
Newsflash! Humans have not been around for as long as the earth has! And that would have been the end of the short. But as I was listening, I noted a few things that I could bring up to at least be somewhat educational, while laughing hysterically at the audacity of Kent to even think for half a second that any of this is a convincing reason to think the Earth is young. Anyway, after his commercial advertisements, he does the timeline thing and compares it to the size of the US in time to distance. The short version is, yeah, billions of years is a really long time, Kent. And we haven't been around for most of it. We get it. You can't conceive of that much time. I can. I'm sorry if you used up your entire brain capacity coping with your own failed logic.
All the real scientifically provable history of the earth shows mankind all fits into this 21-foot section. But they want all the kids in school to be taught that this billions of years is actually the truth, and it's not.
Well, that's bullshit. When he says mankind, he is trying to say the entirety of history because he's a young earther, which is absolutely not the case. We have 5 videos so far of Kent completely failing to show the earth is young, and at times he has shown the earth is very old without realizing it. So Kent, why are you demanding to teach kids your absolute failure? I don't even want my audience to take that at face value. This is part F. We have A through E so far, plus 2 more videos on Kent's Earth. Today isn't even evidence of anything about the age of the Earth, just that people haven't been around for most of the time the Earth has.
Tonight we're going to talk about human language. Let's look at some facts from humanity that indicate man has not been here for millions of years.
See what I mean? No scientist worth his weight in mud will say humanity has been here for millions of years. The human race as we know it and we understand has only been on the planet for about 200,000 years, dwelling in caves and primitive structures, while our brains have been evolving from natural selection. We are still evolving to this day and getting more intelligent generation by generation. Human language and human communication was simple in the earliest days of our existence, communicating simply without any real words, just short sounds and gestures. The sounds develop into simple words, which develop into more complex words, then a communication in writing, while ancient civilizations were found to communicate in pictograms, or more accurately, hieroglyphics. They are essentially the same thing. This was a form of written language from thousands of years ago and is still found today in several places around the world, like Egypt, the Mayans, cave drawings, and in some cases we still use them today. A few examples are in Chinese writing. The Chinese and other cultures similar have a method of writing that essentially are pictograms in some instances, when a word for something is a character that resembles the thing the word is describing. In other cultures, the picture of a thing would represent a sound that was made in a spoken word. The picture would develop into something more simple to draw, and that would become a letter of a new alphabet to make writing easier. Imagine what our spoken and written language will be like in another 4,000 to 6,000 years as we continue to make new words in our developing culture. As an example, 25 years ago, there was no such word like Wi-Fi, and even the Simpsons TV series created the word meh, now defined in Webster's dictionary. So what else does Kent have?
See, God created language. God created using language. He just spoke everything into existence. He gave only to humans the ability to use language.
Really now? Well, in that case, what is a language, really? It's a form of communication. We have an intelligent brain, so our form of communication is now highly developed. Other life forms on the planet have a different level of complexity to language. A dog, for example, might not know what you're saying when you ask them to get down off the couch, but they know what you want them to do when they hear the words like down and couch, even though they don't specifically know what the words mean. They get the idea of what you want them to do. Unless you're my dog that only hears me when she wants to.
Can animals acquire language? Despite claims it's possible, the evidence says no.
This is what I'm talking about. Animals can communicate.
Animals communicate by signals, not by language.
Exactly. My dog Sabina does this as well. If she needs to go out to use the bathroom, she'll tend to dance and nose her way towards the door. She is communicating to me that she needs something. This is a form of communication and thus the dog's language. Not a language like you or I would speak, but what she is saying to me is that she needs to go outside. I communicate in a similar way with her when I go to the door. If I say something like, I am going to work, she understands the word work to mean that I am leaving and she is staying behind. If I say I am going to walk, she follows me out the door. She knows what that sound means even if I don't have a leash in my hand. So she does understand the difference in those words. Does that mean she knows what those two words actually mean? Of course not. But she knows the sounds that they make and what sounds mean for her. I could just say walk or walk, and she would go do the same thing. I give a signal to her that I want her to do something with the different sounds. Other animals in the wild have the same form of communication. For canines like wolves, a different growl sound or a different stance will alert the others with them of something they hear or sense. If one wolf in the pack hears something approaching that they think is danger, they will get up, rear back, and fluff their fur out with a growl. This puts the others on alert and causes them to pay more attention to things around them, while the young pups in the pack will find a place to hide.
Animal language exists in many different animals, including bees, elephants, dolphins, baboons, whales.
Good point. Let's take bees and wasps from the insect kingdom, specifically the Asian honeybee and the Asian murder hornet. Let's start off with the honeybee. Let's say someone you know moves into your town from out of state and they ask you for directions to the grocery store. You might tell them to drive south on Jefferson Avenue and take a right on 4th Street, down 2 blocks until you get to Washington Street, then take a left and the store will be about half a mile down on the left. They take that information, drive to the store, and then reverse it to get back home. Now a honeybee scout flies out of the hive in search for food. The bee finds a new flower garden your friend planted at their new home. The bee flies back to the hive but can't give the same kind of directions that you did. So they communicate the information in a different way. They dance. I'm serious. They do a sort of wiggling dance to start giving directions to the other bees in the hive, and the way they are dancing, the angles in which they wiggle and move, then communicate to the bees in the hive where to find these new food sources. Now let's take the Asian murder hornet. If they are injured, they let out a pheromone that travels on the wind and alerts other Asian hornets that they need help. Beekeepers use this as a way to kill more Asian hornets by intentionally injuring a murder hornet and then putting them on a glue trap. More Asian hornets come to help, and they are then stuck on the same trap, which sends out more pheromones until quite a few number are trapped. The beekeeper will then repeat this process over and over, leaving the Asian hornets occupied elsewhere and not come around killing their honeybees. The Asian honeybees in the wild have a different form of communication they'll do as well. A defense signal. Let's say an Asian hornet invades the nest. They kill one of the bees, and the bee sends a signal before it dies that it has been attacked. The bees then swarm over the hornet and rapidly increase their body temperature by buzzing their wings until they are very warm. Warmer than the Asian hornet can endure, and they cook the hornet to death. If more Asian hornets arrive, they will then do the same to the new arrivals until they stop coming. Honeybees in North America did not evolve with this mechanism, which is why there was such a panic when it was found out that the Asian hornet had found its way to America, and why we sought out to exterminate them before they were too widespread to stop. In the end, animals may not have a language like we do, but they have their own form of communication. And this is the only real reason I didn't make this entire video into a 10-second short. From here, Ken talks about God speaking and the devil speaking and so on.
The first mention of the devil speaking is when he raised doubts about what God said. God said, don't eat off that tree. Satan came along and said, yea, hath God said. Language it starts at the beginning. First created at day 6 when God made Adam and Eve. Adam could talk, walk, talk, name the animals, and get married. First day.
And this sums up his entire argument. Written language was invented in different cultures roughly 4,000 to 6,000 years ago, and the Bible says that God spoke. Therefore, the universe is 6,000 years old. That's it. No evidence, no reason to show or ever that the universe or our planet is only that old. Just tapping his Bible over and over. This is why I tell people the Bible is the claim the Christians make. They are claiming that the God of the Bible and everything in it is the truth, and when you ask for evidence, they tap the Bible again and say it's true. Then they give absolutely the worst arguments for its validity with nothing to really back it up. Now this next thing, I just had to clip. He writes the jokes himself.
Russia's got to be an easy language. I was over there and they had 3-year-olds speaking it fluently, walking around the street, so it can't be too hard. I didn't get any of it though.
So what Kent is saying is that a Russian 3-year-old is smarter than him. Got it. Thanks for that update, Kent.
There's something different about man than there is all the animals and plants on the planet.
Holy fuck. I bet the Russian 3-year-old even figured that one out, and he is saying it like it's new discoveries. The audio clip demon is giving him way too much credit.
How long have humans been on Earth? Well, our ancestors may have been around for about 6 million years. The modern form of humans only evolved 200,000 years ago. Civilization, as we know it, only about 6,000 years ago. Whoa, who'd have thunk it?
Here we go again. Yes, civilization as in not hunter-gatherers living in caves. Civilization is talking about building towns and cities. So what Kent is trying to say is that the universe is 6,000 years old because human cities have been around for that long. I swear, he searches the web for anything that says 6,000 years old and calls it evidence the universe is that old. It's not evidence his shit logic is true, it's just that he has shit logic. Will Kent ever actually give evidence of everything being only 6,000 years old? I doubt it. He goes down the path of writing systems being about 4,000 to 6,000 years old, and that's true. We had spoken words before written words. But spoken words have been around for thousands of years longer, with different civilizations developing their own language.
Lack of obvious formal similarities between human language and animal communication has led some to propose that human language is not a byproduct of evolution, but a side effect of a large and complex brain evolving. So we got a big brain and then had to do something with it.
Like I said, I can't make this shit up. So language isn't a byproduct of evolution, but it's from the brain evolving and language coming out of that like a byproduct. How does Kent have children? I mean, his brain isn't evolved enough to figure out that tab A goes into slot B, so it must have taken him many, many attempts to get that one working. Wonder how his ex-wives felt about that. He brings up a fair number of examples of societies that had written languages even before his flood myth, and then says this little gem.
Oracle Bone Script, one of the oldest writing systems, is directly related to a modern written language, dating back 1200 BCE. Most likely it was first used much earlier, but you don't have any evidence of that, okay?
Kent asked for evidence. Kent. And the entire article even said most likely, because the tablet that was found is unlikely to be the first instance of the writing used. Simple logic gets you there, Kent. The guy that, when asked for evidence, just uses his Bible as a shield by saying, "But the Bible says," but gives nothing to show the Bible is true. In other words, he gives no evidence. I'm sorry, I just found that insanely hysterical, but that's not all. He has more silliness in store for us.
Hieroglyphics, 3000 BC, 3400 BC. The Bible dates indicate the world was created 6,000 years ago and was destroyed by a flood 4,400 years ago. Okay, it could be that some of the dates that they've given that go past 2400 BC are exaggerated. Some are incorrect. Some pre-flood rocks carved on pre-flood people might have survived the flood.
He was really keen on talking about his flood. But there's a little tiny itty-bitty eensy-weensy problem with that. You see, he explains the fuck ton of fossil layers in the earth were the result of that same flood that would have also buried every single one of those huge and heavy rocks, making them sink all the way down to the bottom of the geological column he thinks is a fake. He thinks the entire column was dropped in the flood, and now thinks that those rocks would have had to float somehow. Hold on, time out. Just before I went to render the video, I almost forgot something. Kent completely fucked up. You see, Kent admitted here that there were other languages before the flood. But what he forgot was that according to the Bible, the various languages came after the flood, according to Genesis chapter 11 in the story of the Tower of Babel. So in his own admission, there is a contradiction between his claims here and the Bible. Back to the regularly scheduled video. You can't make this shit up. I'm serious. So the rest of his speech is God did it, and wraps up the entire video for the week by asking everyone to pray with him. I won't put you through any of that. If you want to go and look at his video to do the prayer with him, go ahead. But for now, I think I bulked up what could have been a 10-second short into a lovely bit of fun. Until next week, I am Corsi, and this is the Fluffy Atheist. If you like this, thumbs up. If you don't, thumbs down. Either way, share a funny video. If you want to point and laugh or whatever, I'm out of here.